Welcome to another episode of I Know Jax, and this time we have a great show lined up for you. I know I never say that. First, we're going to talk about a doctor who is an American legend. Before you get your hopes up and assume that I've bribed Jane Seymour to return to the show to talk about Dr. Quinn, let me stop you. It's not Dr. Quinn, medicine woman. Remember, I said American legend. But we are, in fact, going back to the very place where we met Jane Seymour a while back. But the purpose of our visit this time is completely different doctor. Actually, he's really not a doctor at all. I'll take famous doctors for 200, Alex. Here's the clue. This doctor had a long and successful advertising career. He wrote and illustrated 44 children's books. Who is? Ted Geisel. And Alex Trebek would say, that's correct, but Ted Geisel is probably more known as Dr. Seuss. Love the TV show Jeopardy. I'm one of those annoying viewers who likes to yell out the answers, and I always knew I would be a great Jeopardy contestant. Now, my wife is always quick to point out that I wouldn't stand a chance in categories like English Lit, French Drama, baseball trivia, math, just for a few examples. Now, I have a head full of useless knowledge, but she's right. There are some, major limitations in that knowledge. Now, if you didn't know the answer to today's Jeopardy question, no worries. We will get to more amazing Dr. Seuss stuff. Bill Dreyer, curator and international authority on the art of Dr. Seuss, visited Jacksonville for the opening of an exhibit at Avondale Artworks. I got a chance to chat with Bill about the amazing doctor and also see some really cool art.
And a lot of people say that his work in children's literature was the heart of the man, and if that's the case, his artwork was his soul. And you get a chance to see and learn who he was by looking into his soul, into these artworks, and discovering a little bit more about the good doctor.
There are a lot of similarities between the grown-up art and the kids' books.
I think Seuss is Seuss through and through. I really think he is. Dr. Seuss is Dr. Seuss in everything he does. It's just that it's another dimension to it. It's really him. And when you look at these artworks, and this is probably a good example, this is something that once you learn that it was created by Dr. Seuss, you go, I get it. I understand it. He did kind of hold the line with his children's books. This is an artwork based on the founding of Rome, the legendary episode known as the Rape of the Sabine Women. And Dr. Seuss creates his own artwork, just as Peter Paul Rubens, Picasso, Gian Bologna, and Nicolas Poussin, and all these great masters throughout art history have created that important legendary period. And we start with the children's books because he's most loved and known for the children's books. So we have artworks, of course, that cover the spans of his career there. This artwork is from his last book called Oh, the Places You'll Go. And on the last page of that book, it says, will you succeed? Yes, you will. 98 3/4 guaranteed. Kid, you'll move mountains. And here's the kid moving mountains. It's only Dr. Seuss can depict. And we really have a wonderful display of his children's books. Of course, that is Ted Geisel's most prominent legacy in children's literacy. And that is something that, of course, we pay tribute to throughout the exhibition. And you'll see Cat in the Hat, Horton, you'll see Sneetches, Oh, the Places You'll Go, and a really great collection of his most beloved images and characters and books.
The exhibit is an extraordinary collection of imagery reproduced from Dr. Seuss's long artistic career, and it's a chance to get to know the man behind the books, so to speak. I was pleasantly surprised to see the adult humor in his works. Here's one that speaks to me. It's called The Booby Trap. Bill Dreyer also told me why this painting is signed Struga von M. supposedly so Dr. Seuss could get unbiased feedback from his friends. Like they wouldn't recognize that Dr. Seuss cat among all that green. Speaking of books, there are a couple of books that were made about Ted Geisel.
This is called The Cat Behind the Hat, and it really goes into exactly what we're displaying here in the gallery, many of the secret artworks, his advertising career. We also go into his magazine career, and you'll find that he had cover images in the 1930s before he wrote his first children's book.
He was definitely an interesting man, and this exhibit gives you a chance to learn more about him. This exhibit is at Avondale Artworks until December 8th, so go check it out.
Everybody comes thinking that they know and love everything about Dr. Seuss, but you come in here and you'll find many other dimensions to his work, and you'll find that the genius that you suspected was there is discovered and explored even to greater depth here at the gallery. And you'll discover more about who he was by looking into the paintings and learning about him and learning the stories that he delivers through his paintings and the humor and the wit that he delivers through his artwork.
Dr. Seuss created the collection of unorthodox taxidermy back in the 1930s. His dad was superintendent at a zoo, and according to Bill Dreyer, each vivid animal head represents how Seuss imagined the animal would want to be reincarnated. You can see all these animals exhibited at Avondale Artworks. You can find all the information about the exhibit on our website at iknowjax.com. Now let's continue with our Jeopardy theme for the day. The category is Famous Actresses. Who is the famous actress that said this? Don't you remember me? The tomato from upstairs. The answer, after the break.
Latitude 30 is the official away game headquarters of the Jaguars. Catch all the football action in our HD Sports Theater for every away game. 365-5555. Latitude-30.com.
We're playing Jeopardy today on I Know Jax, and we picked the $500 question in the category Famous Actresses. Here's the movie quote. Don't you remember me? The tomato from upstairs. It's a tough one, so let me give you another clue. The movie is The 7-Year Itch. Ah, that simplifies it, doesn't it? The answer is, who is Marilyn Monroe? That's correct, says Alex Trebek. A tomato a day might keep Dr. Seuss and his booby traps away. Now, Dr. Seuss, booby traps, Marilyn. Next category, fruits. No, not melons. Our next topic for the evening is, of course, tomatoes, and more specifically, the tomato upstairs. After reviewing thousands of ideas, GQ magazine has named the tomato upstairs one of 5 finalists in the A Gentleman's Call program. Daniel Burstein is the man behind the idea. The tomato upstairs is planning to use the rooftop space above grocery stores to grow fresh vegetables, which sounds really cool. Tell me how you came up with this idea.
So I was driving down, I was actually right at Southside and Bay Meadows, and I was stuck in traffic, and you're always just kind of stuck in traffic at that light. And I saw the Publix grocery store right there, and I love local food and fresh food, but it's not always the most convenient thing to get.
Right. You have to show up on Saturday or Wednesday or whatever day it is. Yeah.
Right, I'm busy, I got to go out to a farm, and I was thinking, there's that free space up there. What if we grew food right above the grocery store, and it was that convenient, and you can get it in the grocery store?
Sounds cool. Have you gone to check out places where they are doing rooftop gardens? Did you do research that way?
Well, actually, right here in town, there's a place called Breaking Ground Contracting. It's off of I-10, and they're doing some very cool stuff on their roof. They do have some rooftop gardening up there. They have solar panels. And the great thing is, water is always an issue here in Jacksonville. They're actually using the condensation off of their air conditioning up there to help water the food up there.
Very smart. Are they doing anything as far as rainwater collection and that kind of stuff?
Well, that's part of the benefit of having a green roof because, as you know here, when it rains, I mean, it
pours.
it pours. And a real benefit is the roof helps mitigate that.
Right.
And that would be a benefit, too, for grocery stores because you wouldn't have to have such a massive pond that you have to dig to catch all the runoff. Yeah.
Cool. So how do you envision this working out? Say you win the contest. What are you going to do then?
Well, I mean, part of it is then to be able to have a proof of concept pilot study to show grocery stores that this is really a viable idea, to find the right partners, hopefully the right investors.
Right.
You know, a real big part of this is people have been trying to get local food in grocery stores for a long time. I'm not the first one, and better, smarter people than me have failed. But when we see a lot of local food in the store now, you know, it's just the same state. And living in Florida, I don't consider something in Homestead local. So I figured, you know, my background's in marketing, and if you go in through the distribution channels, it might not work. So I want to go in through the marketing department and say, hey, this is a way to bring people into a store. It's essentially content marketing for grocery stores.
That's a pretty cool idea. And I guess being a marketer, that made a lot of sense to you, but I mean, it is. It's kind of a nice little spin on it.
Thank you.
Yeah. So you get the money for doing this. You get your pilot in place. Then what? You think just start doing grocery stores around the country? That would be the next step?
Well, success begets success. And so one of the things I do in my job is I write case studies about marketing. And I found case studies are so successful because you can really envision something happening. Whether for us, it's writing about mobile marketing, and then you're like, yeah, I can get into mobile.
Sure.
For grocery stores, they're facing a lot of challenges right now. Margins are really thin, and it's really hard for them to bring in customers, and they do it a lot by just undercutting each other, by throwing up TV ads that they'll help you watch, or throwing a ton of junk mail in your mailbox. What if they brought you in instead by saying, hey, here's some local food?
Right. Do you see this concept moving away from grocery stores and maybe doing it in schools and government buildings and places like that?
I actually got an email from a teacher who mentioned that to me. He said, I would love to see this happen in my school. And yeah, I mean, I think really there's a possibility to do it anywhere.
Right.
I mean, I think the big first step is where people go, where it's already convenient, into those local grocery stores. But yeah, I think there's possibilities in a lot of places.
So tell me how we can help you succeed in getting your pilot program started.
Well, there are 5 finalists from across the country. There's one from New York City, one from Denver, one from Philadelphia, and me right here from Jacksonville. And there's voting every day until November 26th to make this happen. So you can go to thetomatoupstairs.com, look about my idea, click to vote, or you can go directly to agentleman'scall.com, click, and vote every day until November 26th.
I expect all you guys to vote, otherwise we won't be able to see Daniel's great pilot project, and I really want to see that.
Thank you.
December 21st, 2012 marks the end of the Mayan calendar, the day that some say will be the end of the world. Please join me and the I Know Jax crew on our Party Like It's the End of the World Jacksonville Brewery and Pub Crawl. Let's stare the apocalypse in the face. We have partnered with Play Harder Tours to organize a party of mega proportions. Leave the car at home and hop on the bus with us. We'll visit 6 of Jacksonville's craft beer hotspots, starting at Green Room Brewing at 7 p.m. We'll be making stops at Engine 15, Intuition Ale Works, Bold City Brewery, Dahlias Poorhouse, and Kickbacks Gastropub. Mark your calendar and make plans to join us. Tickets are going fast, so don't wait. Reserve your seat today. Visit iknowjax.com/fun for all the details.
Latitude 30 is the official away game headquarters of the Jaguars. Catch all the football action in our HD Sports Theater for every away game. 365-5555. Latitude-30.com.
Now this evening I've been doing my best Alex Trebek impersonation. Our next category is U.S. holidays for 1,000. Oh, it's the Daily Double. I'll wager $2,000. Here it is. Turkey Day with all the fixins. Answer, what is Thanksgiving? Speaking of Thanksgiving, I was wondering how Chris Chislett celebrates Thanksgiving. Being a Brit, I figured he might not be so thankful for the discovery of America. But it turns out that Chris has found his own way to celebrate. Today's Wine Guys segment, we are at Royal Palms Village Wine and Tapas, and that's a mouthful.
It is, isn't it? I'm really surprised you got it out.
Hey, this is a cool place.
Wow.
And today we're going to talk about Thanksgiving wines. So teach us a great one.
I know. I always get asked every single Thanksgiving. I always get asked, what's your one Thanksgiving wine? What do you recommend pairing?
Does it have to be just one?
Well, that's where I have the problem. Is that picking just one? Picking just one wine.
Right.
There's no possible way that you can just come up with one wine for Thanksgiving.
Right.
So that's kind of my big problem. So I picked 4.
Okay, good.
I went straight from 1 to 4.
I like this attitude.
So I have 4 different wines, and these are kind of my ideal wines for Thanksgiving. Pretty much cover all bases, and the problem with Thanksgiving is that you've got, I don't know, personally I never eat turkey on Thanksgiving, but a lot of people do, obviously. But, well,
okay.
I'm not.
They don't have turkey.
I'm English, so I've got no Thanksgiving tradition. That's kind of where I fall with it.
They're not educated.
Yeah, we're not. We're absolutely not. We only invented everything.
Well, you know what I've noticed? If you've got 2 of my favorite types of wines here.
You have a favorite type of wine?
Yeah, red and white.
Okay, perfect. See, we've, all these weeks and all these months of filming, that's as far as we've gotten. So I feel I'm just going to go and kill myself right now.
You're doing great.
Yeah, thanks. So what we've got is 2 whites, 2 reds. I have a Gewürztraminer. Yeah, exactly. Gewürztraminer is it's very similar to a Riesling. It's lighter in body. It tends to have a little bit of sweetness. The first part of that word, Gewürz. Any idea what that means? Guess.
I cheated because I asked earlier. It means spicy.
I thought we were just going to play it off we haven't rehearsed that.
I'm not that smart.
Wow.
Nobody would believe
No,
it.
I know, they never would. I was hoping that you'd just say, I've got no idea, but never mind. So Gewürz actually means spice. The grape has actually got like a spicy kind of character to it, but not in the way of like tandoori food kind of spice. It's like spice. Yeah, it's like cinnamon, nutmeg kind of spice to it. It's got a little bit of sweetness to it as well. The wines are typically lower in alcohol. This is around 10.5% alcohol. Right. So it's a really good food pairing wine as well. Next one, this is the Mercelet Chardonnay. It's really big, buttery Californian style of Chardonnay.
That means more sun.
Yeah. Well done. See, we're doing all right. We are doing all right, seriously. So yeah, Mercelet Chardonnay. It's again, when I tend to give my Thanksgiving suggestions, it's an American holiday, so I recommend we try and stick with America as much as possible. Yeah.
That's why you picked the German one.
Well, I know, to start off with, right? But the
hey, I knew that was German.
You saw a bunch of language on the back that you didn't understand, and you saw made in Germany, and yeah, that's what you were going for. But to be honest, Germany, Austria, they do the best Gewürztraminers, even the Alsace region of France. This country, we do some fairly good Gewürztraminers, but for the sake of, this pairing, I'm going with German Gewürztraminer. Cool. The California Chardonnay, like I said, big, buttery, oaky style. So that you've got your light-bodied, you've got your full-bodied whites covered there. All right. Then onto the reds. My personal favourite, if you were only going to pick one wine for Thanksgiving, I recommend Pinot Noir. Pinot Noir is my personal favourite wine. It pairs with turkey, but more importantly, it pairs with like the cranberry sauces. Pinot Noir tends to have a cranberry, strawberry, raspberry, kind of lighter in body taste. Yeah, definitely. A little bit of acidity to it. Cool. Again, really good food pairing wine. Okay. And the last one, last but not least, is a Zinfandel. Yeah, this is all American. We're getting all American with this one. This is Zinfandel. It's kind of it's an American grape. Not white Zinfandel, but red Zinfandel. So this is the Redemption Zin. Alexander Valley Vineyards. Typically higher alcohol, fuller in body. If you like Cabernet, chances are you'll probably like Zinfandel. Cool. So that's kind of where I stand with my Thanksgiving wine suggestions.
And I suggest you try all 4, because
not at once. Not at once. I had to point that out. I love the fact I even have to point that out, but yeah.
This is the land of plenty.
Yeah, absolutely. All in one glass.
And I know it is Thanksgiving where you're going to gorge yourself.
Oh, yeah. You'll probably end up there.
Yeah, why not? Or if you did it over the course of a day, maybe.
Yeah. Which you end up doing anyway.
Well, thanks for getting us clear on all these Thanksgiving wines. And I hope all you guys have a great Thanksgiving. We'll see you again next week. Sorry to disappoint everybody, but in this episode, there won't be a Final Jeopardy round. We've had too many game show references already. Personally, I could, of course, go back to the booby trap in Maryland and have a great time with that, but I'm getting the evil eye from behind the camera. Now, those of you who are loyal I Know Jax viewers already know that I'm not a big fan of Christmas. It's not like I'm the Grinch or anything. I love the food. I'm just not a fan of shopping and decorating the house and sending Christmas cards and listening to Christmas music marathons and all that, we'll call it hoopla. My wife, on the other hand, would be perfectly happy dressing up in matching Norwegian sweaters and moving into a Disney Christmas house all season watching snowflakes falling to the ground in slow motion. We also celebrate both Swedish and American Christmases, so it's not a surprise that I experience more days of Christmas cheer than most. This year, I've put forth a challenge to come up with ways to make the season fun, and we'll talk more about that next time. Have a safe and happy Thanksgiving, and I'll be back with another episode of I Know Jax next week. Until then, I'll see you on the internet.
Latitude 30 is the official away game headquarters of the Jaguars. Catch all the football action in our HD Sports Theater for every away game. 365-5555. Latitude-30.com.